You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, General Hospital fans, we have got Jenz Sidwell settling down in Port Charles, and they are likely going to pair him up in a romance with some lucky lady before too long. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to discuss who Carlo Rota's character should end up with, whether it's a steamy one-night stand, a short fling, or a full-blown epic romance. But before we dive in, please click subscribe if you're not following us. All right, so we already know Holly Sutton was his last romantic partner, and he certainly showed her a good time up until she stole a fortune in uncut gems and ran off with them. And since Sidwell arrived in Port Charles, he has been flirtatious with a few ladies. And although he comes off as pretty villainous, maybe the right woman can turn him around after he had bad luck with his marriage and with con woman Holly. So we've got a few ideas of who Sidwell's first romance might be in Port Chuck. And just to let you know, we do not have Jordan Ashford on the list because she is not interested. She's all about Isaiah and is just playing games. So, number one, we got to start out obvious with Sidwell's ex-wife, Natalia. And for a while, it looked like Sonny might be moving past friendship with Natalia and into something more. But this week, Sonny squashed any possibility of that happening because he just ended their, I'll call it a situationship. Natalia didn't tell Sonny that Sidwell was her ex-husband and that they share a son until he pried it out of her. So now Sonny doesn't feel like trusts Natalia, and Sonny expects complete trust with everybody in his inner circle, even though he doesn't give it back to them. He keeps his secrets, but nobody's allowed to keep them from him. You guys know how it is. And with a lot of people in town maybe not liking Natalia too much, she didn't get off on the best foot. You know, there's a chance she could run back and reunite with Sidwell if there's no other guys interested in asking her out. And of course, Natalia has said that she and Sidwell hate each other, but that doesn't mean anything on a soap opera. You know, there's a thin line between love and hate, and enemies to lovers is always a hot romance twist. However, I will say I don't really give Natalia and Sidwell much of a chance because he seems pretty disgusted with her, and Natalia seems to have done him dirty somehow since Sidwell accused her of destroying their family. Now, number two on my list is another single lady with whom he's interacted, Alexis Davis. Sidwell runs into her a lot because he owns Windermere and Spoon Island, and Alexis is the trustee for the Casadine Estate. So they cross paths quite a bit, and of course, Sidwell can be quite charming when he wants to be. And of course, Alexis has her hands full with her unhinged daughter, Christina, right now, but that's all the more reason for her to consider some Sidwell sexiness in her life because she really, really needs the distraction. And let's be real, Alexis is no stranger to getting involved with bad boys that pretend to be legit. After all, she was smitten with Sonny for a while, years and years ago, and they share a child, Crazy Christina. And then, of course, there's Julian Jerome, who held a knife to her throat, and also diabolical Jerry Jacks, who has done all sorts of stuff to her, and of course, Rick Lansing in his full-blown villain era was another of her loves, just to name a few. So it doesn't seem out of the question that Alexis could find herself attracted to Sidwell. And of course, it might be awkward since his son Marco was just hired by her law firm, and they might try and keep that family tie under wraps for a while. And sure, Sidwell tried to kill a few people while overseas, but you know, Alexis committed vehicular homicide and she tossed a man off a balcony to his death once. So, you know, potato, potato, right? All right, number three on our list. We have to have Diane Miller among our roster of potential love interests for Sidwell. I mean, if not Alexis, why not her single bestie, Diane? Since Marco handles his dad's business affairs, we'll be seeing Jenz Sidwell up at their office, so they will run into each other. What's not clear is whether Marco is going to tell Diane and Alexis that Sidwell is his father. I don't think so, because when Marco mentioned bringing his client JS Investment license or JS whatever on board. He did not say it was his dad's company, and the JS is obviously for Jenz Sidwell, so that sounds like they're going to keep it clandestine to me. We know Diane is long overdue for some romance, and she doesn't mind a bit of a bad boy either, since she previously dated mobster bodyguard Max Giambetti, and feisty Diane could certainly keep Sidwell on his toes, and I could see him being charmed by Diane and Sidwell charming her right back. Plus, Diane needs somebody to help her get over Robert Scorpio once and for all, and it might also be a fun twist for Diane to date Sidwell, who is Holly's ex, since they also share Robert in their mutual histories. And of course, it'd be super spicy to see Holly and Robert's reaction whenever they drift back to Port Charles if Diane was with Sidwell. All right, number 4 on our list, of course, we cannot forget Lucy Coe. She has been in Sidwell's orbit since day one because she sold him Windermere. And Lucy has been heavily flirting with him for a while, inviting Sidwell out for dinner, for drinks, hinting at possibly more. She wanted her ex Martin Gray back, but he told her it'll never happen. And GH seems to have written off her other ex, Scotty Baldwin, for good, so Lucy could use a good cuddle. And Silver Fox Sidwell might be the man for the job. Plus, Lucy got Sidwell involved in her company Deception, and they just recently signed a contract to do business together. Also, Sidwell just agreed to underwrite the entire nurses' ball, which is Lucy's pride and joy. Sidwell and Lucy are extremely flirty already, and they spend a lot of time together. Plus, Lucy loves the bad boys, so it seems like they could be a perfect fit, and she's made it quite clear if Sidwell's interested, she's ready, willing, and more than able to entertain him. All right, number 5, the last lady on the list we want to talk about is of an age to be a good match for Sidwell, and like these other ladies, also has dodgy taste in men. We're talking about Nina Reeves, whose last fling was the truly despicable Drew Cain, not Quartermaine, who is now betting her daughter. I mean, if Nina dated Sidwell and he stayed out of Willow's sheets, that would be a step up in everybody's opinion. And Nina desperately needs something to distract her from Willow's mess with Drew. And once Willow finds out Nina slept with Drew, it's gonna get worse. So Sidwell could be a fun change of pace for Nina, although Sonny might lose his mind, maybe even get a little jealous. And that could be fun, given that Sonny just called off his blossoming thing with Sidwell's ex, Natalia. So we could have a little triangle action in the mix. It sure seems like they're cleaning up Sidwell's act, a little bit of a redemption, possibly keep him on the character canvas in Port Charles for a while, and that means a romance is likely in his future. So will it be one of these lovely ladies? Maybe.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.